Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Standing Room Only podcast, episode number 50. We have hit a milestone marker. I am Goose. As always, I'm here with Healy. Today, we did bring a special guest, Michael Hermosillo of the Los Angeles Angels organization. Before we get to that, we just want to remind you guys we are on Spotify, we are on Apple Podcasts, we're on YouTube as well. It is very important that you guys do hit the download button. Unfortunately, we do not see the view count. We do see the download count. We are on social media. We are the SR Only Pod, Twitter, Instagram. You can follow our individual accounts. I am iGoose with 4 O's, and then we have Healy as well.
You can follow me at the Healy6.
And then, Michael, is there social media for the listeners to follow you on?
Yeah, Twitter, I think Hermosillo10, and then Instagram Michael_Hermosillo.
Awesome. Everybody,
Twitch as well. Michael Hermosillo, gonna be streaming here again soon.
Let's go.
Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna ask
Excited.
about that.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure that'll be a topic.
There we go. Yeah, so all Twitch streamers out there, young listeners, whoever you are, go and give him a follow. I almost forgot about that. I'm newer to Twitch myself. iGoose with 4 O's. So yeah, welcome in to this week's episode, man. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Pretty much on the year anniversary of our first episode as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
It's a special one, man. So let's get the ball rolling. I know you're with the Los Angeles Angels. 2020 has been a roller coaster of a year.
Yeah.
It's hard to focus on all the good because of all the bad. But I mean, at least we got baseball. There's, the world's still, we're all still healthy. We're living, right? How did you cope with COVID? I know a lot of athletes, a lot of people in general, they started gaming and streaming on Twitch. And I know you just mentioned your Twitch account, but what's COVID life been like for you?
That's a great question, honestly, because in a lot of aspects, not a lot of stuff changed in terms of just like the daily lifestyle for me, just because I'm a homebody, like I'm not someone who's trying to go out and do a lot of things, maybe like plan a trip, things like that, but I'm just not a type to, go out to eat a lot, more carry out, things like that. So that part of the transition was kind of easy, I mean, obviously I would like to go out to a restaurant every now and again, but other than that, in terms of the baseball stuff, man, it was just crazy, having to get tested every day, having to deal with all that, having to deal with, not really being able to do anything outside of baseball. That was just kind of weird to get used to. So yeah, like you said, it was just a really like crazy year. And I think just the biggest thing is like also you're saying like we still had baseball, obviously like all three of us are healthy, we haven't had to deal with I don't know for you guys, but at least even if you did have to deal with it, you've come out on the other side, healthy, things like that. So I think for the most part, it's just that perspective this year of like being grateful for the things you do have, and just being grateful to just be healthy, be living, be breathing, and be talking on a podcast and hanging out.
Yeah, no, that's the truth, man. I mean, it's something I always try to preach to people. 2020 was a bad year. Obviously, there was we lost like musical artists. We lost Kobe. Healy's wearing the Kobe shirt right now. The Black Mamba.
Wow, baseball legends.
Yeah,
no
baseball
doubt.
legends. Yeah. More recently, Joe Morgan. I know we talked to Tyler Stevenson about that. Considering he's in the Reds organization. So yeah. So you were drafted. You were First things first. Healy posted on Twitter. I did not know this. I did not know you played football. Everything I read about you, I'm sure everybody, what they read about you, they know your baseball backgroround. Apparently, you played football, so you were at least a two-sport athlete. You laid the smackdown on some people in these highlights.
That's funny. Yeah, no. Yeah, football was kind of like my focus going through high school. Obviously, you know, I was pretty much a two-sport athlete, played a little bit of basketball, but that was pretty much it. Other than that, football and baseball. And I think the biggest thing with football was just the ability to like go to school for free, like being able to get that scholarship and, at least know maybe the next 4 years could be a little bit easier on you financially, yada yada. Whereas baseball, they split up the scholarships and all that stuff. So that's kind of why my focus was on football. And then just after my senior year, I actually went through like 3 stingers in my shoulder. And that was kind of like where my mindset flipped a little bit. Obviously, baseball was always like the idea of like healthier longevity, but once I started to like kind of experience some injuries in football, it was like you kind of really started to think about that. And I think that's kind of into that senior spring, I just really focused on like, all right, I want to improve like my baseball, just like in terms of focus on it. I'm probably, want to go that route, try to get drafted, yada yada. And then draft day didn't really go as expected. Got drafted later than I thought, but I kind of had already made up my mind that I wanted to go, and then I thought I had the skill set to do it anyway. And yeah, that's just kind of what led me that way, instead of the football route. I obviously loved football. It was super fun. Obviously, I think anyone who can experience high school football and just like the memories you make, it's super sick and just a fun experience. But yeah, that's kind of where I just went right to baseball and decided I didn't really want to take those hits anymore.
Yeah. No, that's literally the question I was gonna ask, how you got more
Yeah,
focused, like what was that deciding factor? And obviously injuries, it's not just the aspect of, I don't want to get hurt, so I can't do this. It's a matter of I don't want to
right,
get hurt now and then deal with it when I'm older, after you're thinking
right.
retirement. So yeah, so you mentioned a scholarship. I believe you had at least a scholarship to, was it U of I you had?
Yes, yeah, I was committed to University of Illinois. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I was just, it's one of those things you always see, like there's like the Russell Wilson who
Yeah,
was, baseball, but then he ended up going football. And then there was
right.
who is in Notre Dame that ended up pitching
Oh, Samardzija.
Marsha,
Jeff
yes.
Samardzija.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep.
He went to Notre Dame and ended up playing baseball. So it's interesting to see that it's like it's they go like 50-50 almost on that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, no doubt. And I that's how like that was kind of the weirdest thing, obviously, is like, you're so invested in something for so long and then it kind of just ends. Like you're just like, all right, like if you pick one, the other one's over. And it was like that was kind of always my thought process too, was like if I went to Illinois for football, I was committed to the baseball team too. I was gonna do both. But it was kind of like, all right, dealing with getting hit every week in the college football Saturday and then, thinking that you're gonna be ready for baseball practice on Monday and then all the school stuff, it just kind of like a lot of those things started to weigh on me in my thought process, and a lot of it just came down to like, okay, well, or you could just go play baseball right now, not worry about school, and still have the Angels. I think at the time were like, oh, okay, well, we put aside like a scholarship fund for you for like if you have to go back to school, yada yada. So you have that security, and it was just like, all right, like I'm cool with taking this risk, and taking my chances, and that's literally pretty much how that decision played out. It wasn't really, you know, a lack of love of football or loving baseball more. It was just kind of more like, oh, this, I love both. This is kind of just a better career choice personally.
yeah. Yeah, no, that
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, it sounds like you really had some thoughts into that, and I think you made the smart decision there. Physical stress ends up translating to mental stress. I mean, a lot of athletes go through it, so I think you made the right decision. And look where you're at now. I mean, you're with a very good ball club who has a lot of potential. They
yeah.
have they're making a lot of moves recently.
Yeah, well, and
Um,
actually the funny thing is like I've been in baseball. So this is my 7th full year now, so I'm actually like a free agent. So I'll be like, this was my last year with the Angels. I'll be like opening up to like all 30 teams. I could go back to the Angels. Who knows? This new organization, like new people going to be running it. All
mhm.
that stuff. But I mean, there's going to be 30 teams hopefully that are interested in my ability and what I can bring to the table. I feel like I'm still only 25 years old and kind of gotten sparing chances. So I'm just trying to really find somewhere where I can hopefully get like a legit shot, get like some real ABs under my belt and show what I got.
That is weird. It's always weird looking at people's like minor league stats, and
Yeah,
like you're 25 and it's like, yeah, you're a younger player, and then
yeah,
to realize how long guys have been in the minors, especially when they get signed from like the Dominican Republic and stuff at
Right.
16 and they don't debut till like 24. It's like, oh
I
my.
know, dude. Yeah, no, and that's like especially like the Latin guys from the foreign countries. It's like you said, they get here at 16, so they're sometimes minor league free agents at like 22, 23. You know what I mean? It's like it's crazy. They are either like forced to get called up or they can get that new shot with another team at such a young age, and that's kind of like the one thing. You always saw this moment coming down the line where it was like if you at least come out of high school, you might get those extra chances. Usually if you come out of college, you're not going to be a free agent until you're like 28, even minor leagues. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it's like it's already tough enough to be a major league free agent and get the time there. And it's the same way for a lot of these minor league guys where they're 22 and have to play 7 years in the minor leagues before they can really fight for their own contract, not a contract that's just established the same throughout everyone, throughout the minor league. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. It should be fun. Obviously, there's always the uncertainty and the stuff you have to deal with in that aspect, but I think it'll also just be, very fun and interesting to just see if there's a lot of interest there and just see, what could be a completely different, look for me in 2021 in terms of just, even the jersey I'm wearing. So it'll be cool. It's
Yeah.
just a different thing for sure.
The past couple years, you bounced in between AAA and
Yeah.
majors. Posted an 800 plus OPS in both in the previous years in AAA, but this
Yeah.
year you changed up your stance a little bit. What went into like that decision?
Oh, good question. If we were to go like in depth, I would say anything that I'm trying to do at the plate is simplify, like make
Mm-hmm.
more efficient. How can I, get point A to point B as efficient as possible with my swing? So I think from that aspect, a lot of things early on with me as a hitter, I developed through a leg kick. Um, a leg kick provided me timing. It provided me like sequencing. It just was a natural movement for me that I was able to do when I first kind of took off in low A. Kind of got on the radar as a prospect going up into high that same year, and posted like a really good stat line. And then from there on, kind of got that prospect status, and it was kind of just some waves, It was like, okay, we'd have some good weeks, we'd have some bad weeks. Like, all right, like, what's going wrong, what's going right? And I think just over time and, consulting with other people and, just looking at video, it was just like, okay, how can I make this even simpler? So, last year in the middle of the year, I went to a toe tap. Didn't really change a whole lot other than that. Sequencing pretty much the same. Stance a little bit different, but not nothing too crazy. Just kind of the toe tap was the big thing, and just tried to stay more efficient. The biggest thing with me right now is like, how can I keep my power but eliminate the strikeouts? Because I know my bat to ball skills are good enough to not strike out as much as I did, but I know
Mm-hmm.
that like the power and stuff is finally coming through. Like to have surgery in 2019 or 2019, 2020 has messed me up in terms of dates and seasons and things like
Yeah,
that.
the
I'm
off
trying to think the
season.
last time I was in AAA, but you know, going through rehab, not getting spring training, not getting into real games until June 1st, and then going to AAA for 2 months and producing 15 home runs in those two and a half months, like I was pretty happy with that. Like even though I didn't have like the average I wanted, I knew that like a lot of things were going right, and a lot of that stuff would have evened itself out over 500 at bats. Um, so yeah, dude, it was just kind of like really excited in 2020 to get the ball rolling. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
like it was just like I had really, established a good feel at the plate, and then we rolled into spring training. Everything was going well. Was doing really well, and then we had that Corona stoppage, and then after that, it's just kind of been, it was what it was. We had our summer camp, we had the season. I was up for a little bit, down for a little, down for the rest, and it was just kind of working on myself and just working on like, keeping that right for the 2021 season. That's kind of what it just became, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think I saw in AAA last year, you had like 10 home runs in like 11 games.
Yeah, and
Which,
that was 2 weeks after the toe tap adjustment. So it was like we made the toe tap adjustment, hit a homer that day later in the game, and it was like, oh, that felt good. And then it was like, all right, let's lead that into tomorrow. And then we went to Nashville, and I literally had like 3 home runs one game, 2 home runs the next game, and then a home run. It was like something ridiculous. It was like two, two, and one, something ridiculous like that. And then we came back home and I hit like 3 homers in a game. It was just like it was absurd. So it was one of those things that did definitely click. And I was excited to, kind of put together a season in 2020. So that I think when we go back to the question of like dealing with 2020, I think that was the most frustrating part, not just for me, but for a lot of guys, was just like if you weren't in the big leagues, man, you just didn't really have like an ability to show what you were,
mhm.
doing, or like if usually you get that chance to go to AAA and just rake, or do your thing. Like whether you do good or bad, that's kind of on you, but you at least still get those chances to go down there and show what you got for the other teams. And it was like, I think that was probably the most frustrating thing with this year was, either being in the big leagues or kind of stuck in an alternate site, just playing practice games. So that was, yeah, no, that was definitely different.
I remember for spring training 1 back in March, you were killing it. I'm like, oh, this
Yeah.
is this is your year. You're gonna
Yeah.
start up. You're gonna start up with the main team. You're playing so
Yep.
well. They have to include you.
Yep.
And then Corona hit, and it was just
Yeah.
2 or 3 months off.
Yeah, yeah, and you look back and you're like, dang, it's tough, but I'm still grateful for it, because
Yep.
it did really like it, that whole off season was really about that, like being ready to, show the Angels I was ready to compete for at the most that fourth outfield spot. Like obviously you have Trouty and Jay Up and Goody who all had solid years the year before, so you're kind of fighting for that fourth spot, but at the same time that's all you need. Like you just need to get in the door. So it was like, how can I be as ready as possible for that situation? And yeah, I felt like I really was. I think I literally, like, when we ended spring, I had like a 471 average, like 2 home runs, like it was just like everything I wanted to do, I was able to do. And it was just that part was hard to, deal with, was just like the immediate stoppage. Like, okay, like you have to sit and wait for 3 months. But
Hmm.
I think, everyone had to deal with that. And I think, it was kind of awesome to see once we got back in summer, like everyone, for the most part, everyone was like ready to go. Like it wasn't like a lot of people had missed their stride, and a lot of people kind of picked up, right where they left off to be able to make the team. Like that was kind of the thing too. Was like even after the spring, I knew I had to go back in summer camp and do it again, and luckily I did and made the team at a camp. So it's just kind of like now applying that to this off season again, and how can I even fix those, whatever the holes maybe the Angels saw, or the next team wants from me. Like how can I just make the most of that and bring out my skill set.
Yeah, and in the few games that you played in the bigs this year, made an impact. You had a walk
Yeah.
off sacrifice fly. The next
Yep.
day in the 10th inning, you tied up the game.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like anytime you can just help the big league team win, is like just it's a great feeling. So I think, getting that feeling more often is like, it's addicting. It really is. Like you want to keep doing that. And this is like with Randy right now going off in the World Series. It's like I can't
Man.
even imagine that. Like the feeling, like just the absolute feeling of just like helping your team like every single night. Like obviously it's unheard of what he's doing. Like he's literally the first person to do it. So it's like no one's felt how he's felt before, like in this situation, but
Oh,
at the end of the day, like how can you like hang, like I want to be that, like I want to do, like how can I like put myself in those shoes, and like all right, like you just got to have that mindset. I'm sure like he just every day is coming in there, like it's not gonna stop. Like I think that's a lot of things with baseball, is like there's that mindset of like, oh well, I've been hot for a week, like a slump's got to be coming. It's like no, no, it doesn't. Like you can have this same week again if you have that mentality. So it's
hmm,
kind of cool to like see guys do that where they establish themselves, and then maybe even get to link up with them later and be like, yo, like what was the changing point for you? Like what really made you what made you lock it in here? So no, it's cool. It's definitely that feeling is something I feel like everyone's obviously always searching for, and striving to get better at, and being able to be a Trout or be a Kuna or the guys like that, where it's just like every night you're helping contribute to success of teams.
Yeah, he got picked up from the Cardinals last year. The big piece in that trade was pretty much Jose Martinez go up against
Yeah,
lefties. And he was just thrown in there, and then he helped out the Rays and got hot at the right time. And right
yeah,
now, it's kind of like Bonds. You don't really want to pitch to him. Like you don't know
exactly.
what's gotten into
You
him, but he will destroy whoever you place up at the mound.
No, that is so true right now, especially, man. It's literally it's that this is like an unbelievable run. I honestly wasn't even watching the game when it started, and I saw all the tweets like, Randy, oh my God, like I had doing it again. I'm just like, this man really hit another home run? Wow.
Yeah,
That's so awesome. That's so awesome.
I forgot the game was on. I'm like, no, of course. Of course I didn't
Yeah.
have it on. In top of the first inning, he goes yard.
Yep. No, that's so true. That's always how it goes.
Yeah, I just saw that he hit one today, and they're leading 1-0 in the 5th inning, so they might even
Yeah.
force a
Yeah.
another
Could you
game there.
imagine, man, if that series goes game 7? Oof.
Yeah, Blake Snell is shoving right now.
Is
He has,
he?
he
That's
has
awesome.
he has 9 strikeouts through. He had 9 through 4.
Wow.
It's killing it.
Hey, first big league knock right there. If they need tips, let me know. I'm just kidding. You break that tie. Oh, that's funny. That's cool. I need to turn that game on here. Probably the last like 3 innings. I'll probably be able to handle the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Probably hopefully another crazy finish.
hmm
Yeah, the finish to what was it? Game 5 was one of the wildest finishes I've ever seen.
Amen.
It was you gotta love baseball, right? I
I think
mean,
it
you
was
just
game
never
4.
know.
Yeah, no, baseball is the only sport where like that many things could go wrong, like
Brett
on both
Phillips.
sides. Sheesh. And I mean, same and baseball, same thing like that too. Like there's just not many, sports where you're gonna have a guy who maybe didn't start the game, or, isn't the guy you necessarily think's gonna have the clutch hit. Like him coming off the bench, defensive replacement, knowing he's gonna be up fifth that inning, and getting that opportunity and taking advantage of it, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to see. It's literally like you can't dream of a better scenario. So no, that's sick.
And what I saw too is someone pointed out like his composure, because it
Hmm.
was a 1-2 count and every pitch wasn't in the strike zone,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
no, and that's
still
the
hit it.
thing, man. I love that point, because I think that's kind of the thing. Obviously, maybe like your biggest baseball fans might realize, but just the casual baseball fan doesn't really realize sometimes like how much like that can dictate in that bat, especially when you have a guy like Kenley who's all off movement, deception. Like, how can I have my cutter look for a strike the longest and then, run in on your hands? Or how can I make it look like a ball for the longest and then backdoor you for a strike three? So it's like, if that play expands at all, it just gets tougher on the hitter. You know what I mean? Because it's harder to keyhole that pitch that you need. So for him not to expand and, not lose his composure, like you say, get too mad. Because I mean, the dugout was definitely losing it on the second strike. I remember seeing it live, like the replayed reaction. So for him to keep his composure, stay within himself, and put bat to ball against one of the most prolific closers of all time, it's awesome. It really
Mhm.
is. It just shows like how focused he was in that moment.
So a couple seasons ago, you I don't know if they're doing this year with the winter ball in like
Mhm.
other countries, but are you just gonna do a workouts from home in the off season, or are you gonna try playing like a league?
Uh, I've kind of been going back and forth on that, to be honest. it's just kind of crazy times right now, obviously with the corona. So I think I want to say, I'm not sure. I can't speak for the Dominican, but I know in Mexico they're only taking like half the amount of American guys that they usually do, just because they don't have a lot of fans at the stadium, so they're not making as much money.
Hmm.
So I don't know if the opportunities are necessarily as much as they were the last couple of years, but no, it's definitely something I keep an open mind to. I'm gonna start back up baseball activity in the next week completely, so once I'm 2 to 3 weeks into that, if there's like a random call where they're like, "Hey, we need something," like, I'm definitely open to that. But I'm not actively like seeking out winter ball right now. It's kind of more just like getting ready slash finding that job for 2021.
Yeah. Going back to like 2020 a little bit,
Hmm.
lucky that you got to go to an alternate site because a lot of
Yeah,
minor leaguers this year were just at home, and a
yeah,
lot of like first or second year guys, that's kind of tough. Like, it's all on you to get better, and you need to show out next spring to see if you can improve or not, or
yeah,
be
dude.
gone. Your career could be
Abs-
done.
no, absolutely, and honestly, that's probably like the saddest part of all this is like all the guys who maybe left school after JUCO, or were drafted out of high school in a similar situation as me and took that chance. It's like there might not be those lower level teams when we come back in 2021. Like the MLB's already shown that they want to like you know minimize some of the teams at the lower levels and kind of condense the minor leagues a little bit more and make it a little bit more like 3 to 4 teams each. I don't know exactly the outline, but basically there's just so many of these rookie ball teams and low A teams that are looking like they're going to be on the chopping block. So that's a lot of guys from the 18 to 20 range who it's like, if they can't get those jobs and they've already, wasted their college eligibility, like what are they going to do, So
Hmm.
like you said, it definitely, just being able to be at an alternate site is definitely, being grateful for that too, because yeah, like you said, man, they're just a lot of guys who haven't even played baseball in 2020 unless it was, some backyard organized thing. It's pretty tough. It's pretty tough for everybody.
So I gotta ask. Healy said you are a pretty big basketball fan. I know we were talking about it before the episode.
Yeah.
I've been dying to have this conversation with somebody. Can I get your top 5 of all time?
Top 5 of all time. Oh
Any
man, on the
position.
on the spot.
I
Boy.
gotta I gotta ask. I'm sorry, man. I know
Oh
it's
goodness.
I came out of left
You
field.
it did. It did. I mean, you're gonna be mad at me probably for this, but number one's gonna be LeBron. Like I'm sorry. Like it is what it is. Like when we talk about complete overall basketball player, we talking first pick in the draft of all NBA. Who you gonna surround yourself with first? I'm picking LeBron every single time, and then second's Michael. Like it's pretty much that simple. Honestly, for me, the 3 through 5, gosh, man, that could be so many people. I
Mhm.
mean, like obviously you have Magic, Kobe, you have guys like that, like you have Shaqs who are dominant centers, but you do kind of wonder just like where does Shaq fit now? Like in terms of the
Mhm.
game now. Like not saying he still wouldn't be great, but like would he be who he was in today's game? You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
just in terms of, is an offense going to sell out even if their center is that dominant? Are they going to sell on the center full time when the stats say shoot threes and all that stuff like the Warriors do? So obviously that Kevin Durant to me honestly is going to be up there at the end because it's a 6'11", 7 foot 3-point shooter that can dribble as good as anybody. So
Yeah.
gosh, man, I guess if I had to go, it would be LeBron, MJ, Kobe. I'm probably missing people too. Like I'm probably being
Kareem.
outrageous on like Kareem's up there too. Yeah, like a lot of this is too like I feel like if you did generational,
different
I
eras.
feel
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it has to be different eras because obviously you would just be like Michael's the best in this era, LeBron's the best in this era. Like that makes it a lot easier. Obviously, easier and less debating, less arguing if it's done that way. But yeah, man, I'm sorry if that offends you, but LeBron, yeah, number one.
No, no, no. I've been waiting for this, and I'm glad. I thought I was gonna have to get into a debate. Actually, I was really when I said your top five, I was realistically like the underlying question was LeBron or Michael.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so,
Usually.
Dustin,
so
Dustin like told me about that he was gonna ask, and I'm like, I already know
Yeah.
your answer. I
Yeah,
already know
yeah.
it.
I was gonna say Healy would know.
oh
Healy's
man,
followed me long enough. He would know.
that's all I ever argue with people is LeBron over Michael.
Yeah.
There's a million reasons why. But if we did break down per era, sure, Jordan obviously dominated the late 80s, the
Yep.
90s. He just it was a different era of basketball. I
It
feel
was.
as though, like there's so many greats through every era, but I mean the way that the game changed, the fact that LeBron was kind of part of that late 90s era style of basketball and
Right.
transitioned for the last 17 years and dominated the way he has.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
I,
that it's sorry to interrupt. It was just like to me, like you just said, like the fact that he kind of while he did come in 2013, the fact that he was that close to the 90s, like coming in to like the league, and it's like he's still out there just dominating today,
Mhm.
which is like that's wild. To me, that is just wild. It's
Hasn't
awesome.
really lost a step.
Exactly. Like it'd be different if it was like, oh, he's the B plus LeBron or something. Like
Hmm.
the man keeps getting better and better, like more efficient. It just like it's unbelievable.
He's the
More assists.
highest rated player in 2K. Still,
Hey, there we go. See, how is it? We're totally going off topic, but how is 2K? I didn't get it because I didn't want them to like take my money twice.
mm, current gen's just okay. Next
Yeah,
gen though, after watching the trailer today and
you're
seeing like
hype.
Oh
how
yeah.
quickly they got into the game, how
Yeah.
great it looks, I'm so ready for next gen.
Heck yeah. The sweat.
Yeah, they have the
It's like
second
the sweat.
commentary crew now.
Oh, for real.
Yeah, Brian Anderson and Grant Hill are part of like the second commentary crew.
Wow, that's actually solid. I'm
Yeah,
actually really hype about that.
yeah.
Cool.
Dustin and I have. Do you have your PS5 ready, pre-ordered?
So I like had no luck on the release, like the
Yeah.
pre-order when everyone was just like throwing in their pre-orders. I had no luck. I obviously wasn't looking that hard either, but I don't have it like coming like right away. I'll basically wait till that you can just grab one in
Mm-hmm.
Best Buy or Walmart or something, and then I'll grab one. But I mean, obviously I just got this PC, so I'm like, I downloaded FIFA on PC. I'm playing that thing at like 140 frames. I'm like, this is actually way better. What the heck? Why would I?
Yeah.
Why would I buy a PS5? But no, I really do want one just to have one.
Yep.
Like it's just one of those things. Once you've had one, two, three, and four, it's like okay. I can't skip out on five, so it'll
Yeah.
definitely happen eventually for sure.
Especially with MLB The Show coming out
Well,
next year as
so
well.
that's what I was gonna say. I was gonna ask you, will it be on PC or no? Because I mean, being on like the Xbox system now, like, is it going to make the transition to all of them or no?
All we know right now is that they don't have an exclusive deal. We don't even know what it's going to be on for 21. All we know is it's no longer just going to be
PlayStation.
PlayStation. And
Gotcha.
like who knows, it could start next year or it could start 2022. It could be on
Okay.
everything then. So as of now, we don't know if it'll be on
That is so
Xbox,
funny. If
Switch,
they
PC.
did it, yeah, if they did MLB the Show on PC, ooh, that'd be kind of dope. I could imagine the graphics on that.
And the
They'd
mods
be
that you
really
could
heavy.
get.
Oh my goodness, they'd be Barry Bonds first day.
Yeah,
I'd be
yeah.
Barry Bonds. I have that 32-inch bat, be right over the plate, and you would not be able to get nothing past me.
Uh,
That's
uh,
so funny.
on 20 though, you got that 99 overall card. How'd that
Yeah.
fare out for you?
Dude, so like honestly, I got to play it like one time because we were so it was just so crazy in Long Beach like when we were like in season trying to get time to game like on the PS4 because I was always doing Warzone. Honestly, like
Oh,
it was like it was just kind of like a group of us where it was like we get done from Long Beach and then it was like, all right, like go home and play Warzone every single day. So I got to use it a couple times, but sometimes too I was like, do I really want people to know that I'm playing? You know what I'm saying? Like I'm playing as that because I know Otani. That's how he was. It was like he didn't really want people to know people were playing against him, so he wouldn't use his card. It was like, oh my
yeah.
god.
I saw I saw he got his own card in the game, and I'm
Yeah,
like, what?
yeah.
He plays?
Yeah, no, like it's him and his translator Ipe. They have like the PlayStation, and it was just always like, I don't even know if I want to play with this card because then the person's probably gonna pause and be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
I know who you are."
Or just troll the whole time.
100%, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just funny. But yeah, no, that was super sick that they did that. Obviously,
Hmm.
that was super cool. If that would have if they would have dropped that with the release, oh my gosh, I'd have
I
been
hope
playing that
they do
every day.
next year. I hope they
Yeah,
do
I was
that
gonna say,
again.
yeah, because last year, I mean, I was so far into the game by the time they dropped it. You know, like what I
Hmm.
think we were like probably like 5 World Series runs in, and I think I at that point I was just so I was cashed out.
Hmm.
I was so Warzone heavy at that point. But no, that was super sick.
It was super cool to see how many people like actually play the game as well. Because
Yeah.
from what you told me, it wasn't really well known. Like you could get your own player in the game, and they also were like, yeah, you need MLB experience. That wasn't even the case. So I had a
Oh, you just had it.
bunch. Yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you just had to
Hell yeah,
be
that's
in the
awesome.
official rosters
Wow.
because they had the minor league system. For some of the
Yeah.
minor league guys though, they had to go and get photos, and I don't know the process for that. So I had a
Gotcha.
guy who's in the game, but they couldn't get any photos for him. So unfortunately, he
Gotcha.
couldn't get one. But it's been fun having people hit me up and be like,
Oh,
"Yo,
heck yeah.
can I
Heck
get a
yeah. No, that's
99?" I'm
so
like, "Oh, just let me know your info. I'll get you it."
That's so yeah, no, that's super sick. It was definitely cool to see that. And I think next year I'll finally have my face scan in. So yeah,
Ooh,
that would I know. So that'd be super solid right off the jump. Get that 99, you know, have the right face.
the
Just
hair
be
too.
yeah, that would be sick. I don't know. I guess it depends if they had like a set of dreads, so I would hope so.
Mm-hmm.
Mine were finally out of my helmet, so they should definitely put it on there. We'll see. But yeah, no, that should be cool. Do you know if there's gonna be a delay on that, or are they gonna be releasing it pretty much right at the time?
I don't know. I don't have a clue at this
Got you.
point, but it would be cool, especially early on, because that's when a lot of people are playing. But
Yeah.
hopefully, it would be sick for me to get added back into the game as well.
Heck yeah.
I was in there
That was
for one
18, right?
year.
Or is 19?
19, 19.
19. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was in
Hell
there
yeah.
for 1 year. I was like, oh, the remainder of time, I'm gonna be in the game. And then the next year, they're just like, yeah, we got the minor league, all the minor league players. So you and all the developers are just out of the game.
See ya.
Should have.
Man,
I don't know.
dang, they did y'all dirty.
Like, can I at least be the bat boy or something?
Yeah,
Like,
just put my
give me
face to put me in the
something.
crowd, put me behind home plate. Shoot, every
Oh,
Cubs game, they gotta put your head right behind home plate.
Hmm.
That would
uh,
be sick. You'd be like the Marlins man for them. Will be the show.
Oh yeah. Speaking,
That would actually be cool. It's like someone should tell Ramon that. Put the developers with their teams. Put them in their heads in the crowd. That'd be sick.
I think Ramon's like the only developer. He's still like on a roster somewhere, and you see him in the
Uh,
crowd, but like all the other developers, I don't think they're there.
oh, that's so funny.
So we'll see. Maybe with the new consoles and the new memory they have, they're able to
Yeah,
implement them all back. But you mentioned like the Cubs. I interviewed you before growing up.
yeah.
You watched the Cubs a little bit. For basketball, have you always been like a Lakers fan?
No, so I'm
Wasn't
just been like literally a LeBron stan. I would say like 2000. I remember I was literally, oh, it was either 6 or 7. It was like 2002, and it was or 2001. I can't remember if it was 2001, 2002, but either way, it was Carmelo Anthony versus LeBron James, and it was on ESPN high school game. It was when obviously I think Carmelo was like Oak Hill Academy or something like that. I
yep.
think it was, and then LeBron St. Mary's. And I just remember that being a cool, like seeing two dudes who were just like superstars at the time, like, oh my gosh, both these guys are gonna be great, like NBA players. They're gonna be first round, like #1 overall picks, yada yada yada. Like, oh, sick. So like I'm watching, and like I'm like, dang, this LeBron dude's sick. I like him. Like this is a cool dude. Like literally from that point on, man. Like literally, he got drafted to the Cavs, and I was like 8 years old watching a lot of the Cavs games. Anytime they came on ESPN, for sure. And then yeah, bro, just followed him throughout his career. Went through the whole heartbreak when they lost Cavs, and that was pretty much it. And then, man, that was like really the last time that like he had a chance until he went to the Heat, and then
Hmm.
obviously it got good at that point. And it's been a cool journey ever since. But yeah, man, I've just been with LeBron from the jump. Honestly, it's just like whatever team he's on, it was pretty much one of those things early on that I think it was more growing up in Phoenix, the Suns that much, not at
Yeah.
least at my age. Just like I miss the I miss the end of like the Barkley era where they were really good, and it was like too soon before like Steve Nash and Amari and them started like balling. So that's just kind of how it was easy to just go to a person more than a team at the
Hmm.
young age. But yeah, baseball was my grandpa. He was just a big Cubs fan, so that was just Cubs, Cubs, Cubs up until I got drafted.
What about football?
Football, so kind of the same thing early on, man. It was Michael Vick. Michael Vick was just a big time sick quarterback. Obviously, Madden cover, all that stuff. It was just like, dang, like, all right, Falcons are dope. And then obviously the whole dogfighting thing happened, and it was like, all right, well, can't really, there ain't no reason to root for the Falcons no more. Like they were so bad. They were so bad. It was like crazy immediately overnight how bad the Falcons got. Like it was so awful. So my dad, he was just a big Cowboys fan, and he was always like Cowboys, Cowboys, Cowboys. So once the like Michael Vick thing happened, I kind of like went to the Cowboys. They became my team, but it just never has felt like a certain loyalty as like the Cubs were. Like growing
Yeah.
up as like I was a serious Cubs fan. Like I was pretty locked in on the Cubs. Whereas like I mean, the Cowboys, it was sick for a while, but after the whole like Dez catch, didn't catch thing, that was so just traumatizing, like as a fan, that after that I haven't really been as emotionally invested in them. Plus, Jerry Jones, you can never like guess what he's gonna do from a day-to-day perspective. So it's just one of those things where I just kind of, I don't know, root for like fantasy teams of like people I'm friends of. Like who's ever what's your team need this week? All right, bet I'll be rooting for them.
That's that's love. That's love.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking of Dez Bryant, he just signed a deal with the Baltimore Ravens, believe it or not.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I
Go ahead.
honestly I'm happy for him. He's been out of the league for
Yeah.
so long and he was so talented, you know? So
So what do you got on that? You think he's gonna just like plug right back in, or you think it's gonna be like just more of a, I don't know, like is he just gonna have a certain role on the team? What do you think they're wanting from him?
they're pretty talented. They have Hollywood Brown, they have I think they still like Willie Snead. I
Yeah.
think he'll slowly work his way into a role where you'll see him get targeted 5 times a game, and then come playoff time, I feel like is really when like you don't know what you're gonna get from him
Right.
as an opposing team. Like how do you prepare
Right.
for a guy you haven't seen in years?
Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where like I was kind of I mean I'm a Packers fan. I have the big
Okay.
Packers logo behind me,
Hell
so I
yeah.
was a fan of the no catch, right? So,
Yeah.
but growing up, like my brother was super invested in the 49ers and
Okay.
Terrell Owens. And you saw
Yeah,
Terrell
that's another
Owens,
one.
how he kind of got like dogged out and he was like blacklisted almost. Like he was so
Yep.
talented even at his age. And so Dez Bryant, for him to go to the Saints and then not really play and still being at a young age, I wouldn't say he was in his prime, but I was kind of happy to see him actually get signed. You see Antonio Brown get signed. I think they're like the same age. And I know everybody
Yeah,
knows Dez Bryant's talented. He's not a bad
100%.
receiver. So, I think maybe he's got the right offense. I mean,
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
a very unpredictable offense.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say is I think, if there was going to be a team for him to go to, that was one of the teams. Someone that's already established some wide receivers. He doesn't have to go and like be the lead role, but at the same time, like you said, he's so talented that if any of that talent comes through, he's a positive. Especially
Hmm.
like in the end zone and anywhere there's like jump balls or like just being a big physical wide receiver, like obviously that's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be beneficial for the team and for obviously for him in his career because we don't know
Yeah.
how many more years we're going to get out of him, but I still
Heck
think
no,
he's
not with football.
no exactly. I mean, you
Yeah,
spoke on it already. Those hits they add up, but I think
yeah.
I think we'll get a couple more good years out of him.
Mhm.
I mean, this is going to be a Super Bowl contending team, so we'll see. I mean, those Chiefs are still dangerous.
Yeah.
That Mahomes is still a beast out there, but overall, when it
Nah,
comes
yeah,
to
I think you got 3 I think you got 3 to 4 solid teams. You got like just that are gonna be there at the end. The Chiefs, the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Titans. So I think it's gonna be between those 4, but we'll see.
Steelers are my
This
surprise of like the year.
Oh, for
I didn't
sure.
expect them to be undefeated. I kind of like
No.
expect them to be decent this year, but not how
Yeah.
well they're playing.
Yeah, no, the Steelers have been a pleasant surprise. I honestly, it's something about the NFL's just right when the Steelers are doing well, whether you like them or not. It's just kind of one of those teams where you'll just tune into a game at Pittsburgh at like 5 or 6 at night, and it's cold and it's an important game. I don't know, there's just a vibe there that's super sick. So I think it's cool to see them doing well.
We
yeah.
spoke about Antonio Brown earlier as well. He
Mhm.
got signed. I thought he was going to the Seahawks, and
The
instead
way
he went to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the
Man,
way Russell Wilson was talking, man, it seemed like that too. Honestly, it did. It really seemed like there was a general understanding that he was going to be a Seahawk. So that was a wild one.
He goes into a great receiving core with Mike Evans. Chris Godwin's been hurt a little bit, but
mhm. Yeah, he just broke his finger.
Yeah,
he's
that's crazy. That's tough, man. That's a
Tampa
tough for a
Bay
It's
is looking
receiver too.
deadly.
Oh man, finger. You
catching a
gotta
ball from
trust,
Brady.
right? Oh
Oh
goodness.
man. Yeah, that you know what though? I I think the combo of Bruce Arians and Tom Brady are going to be able to teach him. I mean, obviously he's at that age where it's like, what can you teach this guy? Like, can you keep
Right.
him quiet off social media? But I think it was a good move. Like everybody deserves that chance. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
He didn't go out and kill anybody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He just said he may have done and said a lot of stupid things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they took the chance. He served his suspension, and I
Yep.
think Tom Brady is going to be able to take him in under his wing. And I mean, realistically, he's gonna. I mean, I'm sure he's like, look, I just went off for 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, back to back games. We're a Super Bowl contender. Come to us. I thought he was going to the Seahawks too. Social media made it seem like it was a done deal. ESPN was posting videos of Russell Wilson and Antonio Brown practicing in the offseason.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
clicking. And
For
then all of a
sure.
sudden you're like, oh, he's a buck. You're just like, wait, they just got Leonard Fournette. They just got Antonio Brown. You're like,
For
what?
real, the names.
And that defense isn't even bad. They just
No, that defense is
destroyed.
legit.
Yeah,
That
they
defense
just
is
destroyed.
legit. They got a good set of linebackers, man. There's one I forget. I think it's his last name. Ah, man, I don't want to mess it up. It might be Davis or something. I can't remember.
They have
But I was watching
Levante
him last week.
David.
David, is that what it is?
Yeah, Levante
Okay,
David.
he
Mhm.
closes on people so fast. If it's any type of side to side stretch type of run, the running back doesn't have a shot. Honestly, like he's so athletically matched to them in terms of like the side to side speed, the cutting speed that he pretty much eliminates any of that. So obviously, when you have the front that they already have, that's pretty dominant.
Mhm.
It seems. I mean, I know they lost one guy. They lost like I forget. It was like a Hawaiian dude, Samoan dude, a big dude, like
Oh,
nose
Vita
tackle.
Vea? No,
Yeah.
was it Vea?
I think he was hurt. He was definitely hurt for the Bears game, or he
Yes.
got hurt in the Bears game,
Yep.
or something like that. I know he's pretty dominant, but yeah, no, that defense, I'm really impressed with that defense more than anything, because I thought it was going to be like the Bucks scoring 45-38, and I think that defense actually has the like chance to like hold some people down.
Mm-hmm. Tom Brady was a big. I think he wanted Antonio Brown last year as well, so they signed him to the
Mhm.
Patriots. Bill doesn't let anything fly, so unfortunately, he's too much trouble there,
Yeah.
and they let him go. Also, I think I can't remember who I was talking to. Oh yes, yeah, one of my friends. He was saying last year they had to tell Tom Brady to just stop throwing it deep to Antonio Brown in practice because that's all they would do. Antonio Brown would go deep, and Brady would just throw it up to him.
And it was just successful. Why stop? Probably, right?
So if you are
That's
a
funny.
fantasy owner or whatever, probably go out
Yeah.
and try to get Brown because
Yeah.
based off previous history, Tom Brady loves this dude.
Yeah.
Maybe this is like kind of like the reverse of Randy Moss and Tom Brady, where
Yeah.
Moss was a little bit older and they flipped it now. Now
Dude,
Brady's the
when
older
when it
dog.
was when Brady and Moss linked up, that was ridiculous. That was absolutely absurd.
The
So
greatest team.
if it's anything like that, it's gonna be a wrap, man. They've been averaging like 30 points at least per game, and they've been putting it up. So I can't see Antonio Brown slowing that down at all.
Oh, no way. Yeah, there's no way. And
No.
they completely shut down the Packers. I mean, I was watching the
Yeah,
game. It was like 10-3, 10-0 to start the game. I'm
yeah.
I'm I'm cocky. I'm like, "Hey,"
Feeling good.
I'm like,
Feeling
"I'll buy lunch."
good.
I was like, "Who wants what?" "I'm buying. I'm buying." And I turn away and come back, and all of a sudden Rodgers is like picking grass out of his helmet. And I was like, I thought I stepped into the twilight zone. I was like, "What just
Oh
happened?"
man, that's tough, dog. That's so funny. The only reason I'm laughing is because I was the complete opposite. I literally was like, I had the Bucks to win that game, and I was like, oh, this is super sick. Because like like you said, the first 10 minutes were awful. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna get stomped. This isn't even gonna. I'm gonna be walking out the house after the first quarter, go get some lunch or something, and then all of a sudden, man, they turned it on. That was crazy. That
Yeah,
was
that
crazy.
defense is
Yeah.
scary. I mean, obviously you have the Steelers, you have like even the Patriots defense. They're still pretty good, even though they're all,
Yeah.
some guys backed out due to COVID.
Yep.
But man, that Bucks defense, and then even with a hurt receiver, they have so many weapons on the offense. They have two running backs that would start on any team. They have,
Yeah.
obviously their third string receiver, Scotty Miller, would probably thrive anywhere
Ballin',
else. So, yeah.
ballin'.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, they're a fun team to watch. I would say, besides that, the Arizona Cardinals have been a huge
Mhm.
surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that one has been I think that one's been super interesting just because obviously you always are skeptical if a college coach's schemes or like plays, philosophies, all that is going to translate to the NFL level. And I
Hmm.
think that offense has been, explosive, man. And obviously, when you add DeAndre Hopkins to that, and you have Larry Fitzgerald, who just like keeps doing it. Talk about longevity. He's been playing football as long as like LeBron's been playing basketball. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like especially on that level, like it's just it's super impressive. So man, they could be some trouble, man. They really could. I'm interested to see how they keep doing as it gets colder, as they have to maybe go to. Good thing is they don't have to go to too many places that are, too bad
Mhm.
weather. Maybe Seattle, that's probably the worst, but like it will be interesting to just see if there's a team in a tougher environment with a defense, like how they stack up. But you put them in a dome against a defense like the Cowboys or something, it's gonna be a long night for that team, most
Yeah,
Yeah.
likely.
Oh,
They're pretty
absolutely. I mean, Kyler Murray's playing his role so well. You
yeah.
know, I was watching the Seahawks and the Cardinals game. I actually think it was the fourth quarter was on. The World Series game just ended. It's flipped to that. Cardinals, they go into overtime. They tie the game in the fourth quarter. And the one thing you mentioned with Larry Legend with Fitzgerald is, you know, he's not somebody you look for in fantasy anymore. He's not that
Right.
guy, but he's so smart that
Yep.
every time down the field, he's ripping the ball out of the receiver or the running back to hurry it back to the line. And you
Yep.
don't see that a lot because, I mean, a lot of times the defender is holding down the player until the ref comes and gets the ball and passes it to the center or whatever, to the other ref or the center. And Fitzgerald is running and ripping it out of guys' hands and rushing to the line. And he ended up
Facts.
saving probably 10 seconds on that last drive.
Yep.
So yeah, I
Yeah, you
mean,
need that guy. You need that for sure. It's like an extra
yeah.
quarterback out there.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
literally like another quarterback. So yeah, the Cardinals they beat the Seahawks. They're in first place right now.
Yeah.
The Bears were number one in the conference. That was short lived. Of course, they ended up losing to the
Yep.
Rams yesterday. Which I mean, that Rams team is still good. I know that they had a Super Bowl hangover a couple years ago. Last year they were not that great. Still another exciting. That whole division is it even possible? Is it possible for all of them to make the playoffs with the extra spot? Is that
No.
it's not right? It's because it's I thought it's three wild card spots
Oh,
because only one
yeah,
team gets
you're
a
right.
bye week now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
yeah, 3 wild card spots now. There's 4 teams in each division. Technically,
Hmm.
yes.
Well,
Could end up.
probably it's not realistically, but
Yeah.
I get they should just cancel the NFC East, uh,
Yes.
and then just
Agreed.
move some other team over there. So
Mhm.
Agreed. Good lord. Oh, jeez. 4 teams that just wanna fight for the bottom.
yeah, literally. So
And then well, I was thinking about asking this earlier. Do we see Mitch Trubisky come back, or is he done? Is he officially done?
Dude, that's a great question. Obviously, I'm not really a Bears fan, but having a lot of friends who are Bears fans, this is a topic of discussion sometimes. And the way I said at the time was just going to Nick Foles that early. I feel like you eliminated that possibility of like ever going back to Trubisky. Like I feel like
Mhm.
you should have just maybe let Trubisky play a little bit longer just to see, I guess, because it seems to be that he wasn't really the issue. At
mhm,
least in my eyes, I just think there's a whole list of things that just aren't going right for that offense. And I mean, you could blame Trubisky if you want, but at the end of the day, this is what I was gonna say earlier before we went into the topic of the Bears, but like, I just don't see there being many quarterbacks in the future that can't run and can't pass. Like if you
Mhm.
don't have that ability to be like a Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, even Josh Allen doing it too, like
yeah,
Daniel Jones, like
Daniel,
running 80 yards, like what I'm saying, like at the he may have stumbled at the end, but man, he's got the wheels to get going. So it's like
yeah,
having that ability to get a first down on your like with feet because no one's open down the field is a big thing. So it's like I feel like Trubisky at least has that part,
Yeah.
whereas Foles is
mhm,
kind of like you see like sometimes Foles roll out, he got 10 yards of open grass and he's like, I'm not running, that's not my job. And it's like I understand that. Like he really does he might not have the speed to get there, but like somebody else does, or like there's these other guys who are having that ability to make the deep ball pass and run 20 yards first down. So it's like
mhm.
becoming less and less of like obviously like you have Tom Brady, guys like that, but it's becoming less and less of those guys who are just pocket passers. Like you
Mhm.
usually have to have some athleticism now and
Yeah,
be able to make the offense work in two different ways.
yeah. I mean, Rodgers passes on the
Same
run.
thing. Oh my God,
Jared,
Rodgers is way. I mean, he get obviously it's not like unnoticed. But I think his ability to do it, and even like the creative sense, like he
mhm,
just knows when he needs to get like 3 yards or 4 yards sometimes, extend the ball out past the line, those type of things. Like fake a pass, you know,
The hard
2 yards
count.
down the field. Yeah, it's just all those little things. Like those, that's a 5 yard gain too. If you have a good hard count, that's 5 yards for your offense sometimes. So it's just
mhm.
any
Or
way you can add.
Or it could be more because he gets you off sides and just purposely
Yep.
goes to the deep ball then.
And he's very successful on. I think he over the last few years he's had like forced 20 offsides and
Yeah.
missed on like 2 deep balls.
Yeah,
He's
dude.
very good on that hard count,
100%. Once the all the money's on your side, it's like, all right, cool. Like it takes a little bit of that pressure off and probably makes his pass a little bit better because that little doubt of the mistake on interception kind of goes out the window once that happens. So yeah, no, it's even situations like that are huge.
Yeah, yeah. Rodgers, it's a whole list. Like you said, the future is being able to scramble out of the pocket. I've always said on our podcast that Trubisky he has the potential. He's super young. He has the tangibles. But at the end of the day, if you take 2 quarterbacks, and I agree with you as far as Foles coming in too early, and that was
Yeah.
my mindset was like, maybe they shouldn't have went to Foles right away, but at the same time, looking at their schedule, they've had a super easy schedule up until the Rams. Now, from the Rams
Yeah.
over the next like 4 weeks, they have like one of the toughest schedules.
Yeah.
So it all for me, it comes down to one, the coach, Matt Nagy, not being able to utilize his quarterback, who, I mean, Trubisky has legs. We've seen him break runs before.
No doubt. Yeah.
So it definitely falls in his lap. And I think maybe they might be able to make a late run. And now they got a taste of both quarterbacks, 4 games apiece or 3 games apiece. And now it's like, hey, we're not going to compete anymore. We've seen what both of you can do. But maybe we like Trubisky a little bit better with this matchup. I always like the idea of having quarterbacks that are a little mobile. But I've also always been, as a Packer fan, I've always been
Seen it. You've
blessed
always
with having, yeah.
Yep, that's facts. Yep. So true.
I don't
yeah.
see Trubisky coming back though. Once
it's
they
hard
made
to
that
go back at that
decision
point.
Mhm.
after he's had 4 years to try to improve, get stuff down. Once they made that decision, I think they're just gonna ride and die with unless something happens.
Paid him the money. Yep.
You see, Everson Griffin got traded. Also, Yannick. Did we talk about Yannick?
We talked about Yannick last week,
Okay.
but Everson Griffin, I did not know got traded.
He got traded from the Cowboys to the Lions.
Oh, wow.
And Adam Thielen could be traded as well. Apparently to the Browns.
Oh, wow.
Oh, to replace Odell, who tore his ACL. Man, what a loss.
Wow,
That's yeah, man. Odell, he's even though he's hot and cold every week. Like you never know what you're gonna get from him. But I just love Odell's got that swag.
Yeah, just the threat alone obviously keeps him super important and distracting.
So yeah, Everson Griffin goes to the Lions. That's gonna make the Lions just had a comeback victory against the Falcons, which they shouldn't have had a chance, but Todd Gurley, instead of falling on the one, fell into the end zone. Lions got some time left. Matt Stafford that was a wild game, wild finish. So if the Lions get an Everson Griffin, I mean that's another team in the hunt for the NFC North. So that'd be interesting to see. And then yeah. Thielen, I mean, the Vikings, they might as well just sell what you can right now.
Yeah, Vikings seem to be on that route now. Dang.
Yeah.
I think I almost picked them to win.
They're not too far removed from good. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. They're not too far removed from being really good. It's crazy. It's crazy, man.
The one topic I told you we were going to wait on to talk about this week, the Jets and Trevor Lawrence. People are saying if the Jets get the number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence should go back to school.
That's tough. That's tough, man. You gotta. I feel like because he's what? This is Trevor Lawrence. He's a junior.
Yes.
It's tough because if I'm Trevor Lawrence, I'm like, all right, I can get that first pick, go to the Jets, deal with whatever horrible coaching and the losing atmosphere or whatever you want to call it, or I go back to college. And you see guys who go back to college and there's always that risk of injury, and then now all of a sudden their NFL path,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a lot to weigh out. It's a lot to weigh out.
Tough, but I would just go. God,
I
that
think
good,
I think
But that's the thing too. Is crazy. Like the Jets is a weird one because they just drafted a first round
yeah, Darnold.
quarterback literally 2 years ago. So it's like I don't know. That's always crazy when you're just running through first round quarterback after first round
Hmm.
quarterback. Usually it just takes some time for someone to be good.
Trevor Lawrence is like one of those guys though. Ever since his
For
ever
sure.
since
Yeah.
his
No.
freshman
Obviously
year.
he's kind of been one of those guys that's been everyone's mark, similar to like a Peyton Manning or something like that at a
Mhm.
college, no doubt. Definitely a franchise changer. It's just kind of
Mhm.
one of those things where it's like that's where that conversation does kind of get brought up, though. I think more than anything because they, in a sense, messed up the development of the last first round picks, 2 years. So it's like, is he going to go there and have the same experience as this dude? And I think that's probably, like you said, why this is even a topic of discussion. If they didn't have a first round pick 2 years ago, they may
Mm-hmm.
not be thinking about this because they wouldn't know that, things
Mhm.
didn't go well.
Cardinals did it, and it's been working out pretty decent so
Exactly.
far.
No doubt. Yeah. And that's another one too where I really do feel like forget his name, but didn't get a real
Josh
shake,
Rosen,
which is yeah, Josh Rosen is like,
especially
man,
especially with the Dolphins, they didn't even give him a chance, really.
yeah, exactly. You go to another team that's just gonna be another first round pick quarterback. So good luck. Yeah, it's tough, man. It's definitely
I
tough.
heard Kyle Long talk like this week or like this past week about Trevor Lawrence, and he was like, you know what, like if it got to that point, you should probably like go back to school. You could get an insurance policy so that if you do fall back in the draft, you could at least get that. And also,
Yeah,
if he gets hurt and it's not like career ending, yeah, he could fall into like the second or third round, but he'd still be very talented. And also
yeah,
he was mentioning how the first round guys, they signed 5-year contracts with like the four years and then the team option. He's like,
uh-huh.
if he's really good as he's projected, one, he could fall back in the draft and a good team's gonna draft him.
Yeah, true.
And
Yeah, the further you fall down, you'll be in that Mahomes situation where you're like going to a
mhm.
Chiefs or something like that. Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
also they don't sign the 4 years plus the fifth year option. They just sign a 4-year deal. So
Oh
after that
wow.
fourth year, he could get a huge extension.
Bad deal. Yeah,
But it's the career ending injury that could just totally
for
mess
sure.
you up.
For sure. That's a definite tough one, man. I wouldn't. I mean, I guess if you're the first overall pick, that's a good problem to deal with, right?
Yep.
I don't know if you're my daughter right there. It might be my calling time to help mom.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well, we could
but
end it
this has
right
been
there.
awesome, guys. This has been awesome. Shoot, we could do this again sometime if y'all want, for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah, man,
always
we'd love to have you back on, dude.
Heck yeah. Yeah, no, this was awesome, guys. I appreciate y'all having me on.
yeah. As always, make sure to follow SR Only Pod on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow myself at the Healy6.
And I am iGoose with 4 O's. Do not ask why, as usual. And then, of course, we have Michael Hermosillo as well. You guys got his social media at the beginning, but if you didn't get that,
Yeah, Twitter Hermosillo10, Instagram Michael_Hermosillo, and then just Michael Hermosillo at Twitch TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, however you would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Make
you
sure to
guys.
follow all those, and we will see you guys next week.
Awesome.